Hey everyone, I'm back again. Not sure if you've been waiting or not. I'm sorry if you hear my fan in the background. It happens to be a very warm day in October. It's mischief night, and can't wait to see what happens out there now. Good for this kind of business. So today I wanted to talk about money and time in this business. A lot of these businesses shut down because of money. If you start getting way too big, have to hire out help, it does get scary. People take advantage, people make mistakes, and then there's those jobs that require you to put out tons of money that you don't have, or that you might have but can't really give away, just to complete a job that sometimes takes about 6 weeks to get paid for. Sometimes you only get paid for half your job, then you get the other half later. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Dawn, and I'm the owner, along with my husband, of Savior Home Solutions, LLC. I came up with that name just for the sake of the word Savior, like save your home. So, it was a play on words. Thought it was pretty neat. We've been doing pretty well since we started out. Back in, our first order was in March 30th of 2015, I think. yes, I'm getting confused. Every day turns into another day, another week, another month. We don't even have our lives anymore. So, you'll see that. If you're any good at your business, you will always be busy. And it's hard sometimes when you see how long it takes to get paid for things, and you are just working and working, whether it be outside or inside, or dealing with family, dealing with life, dealing with people that you hire for help. It is just, any plans you ever have, don't expect to keep them, Another thing, like I said, we were talking about the money. I don't want to get off of that. So, as far as money, it's good money, but so far I really haven't seen that much money stay in my account, because you're constantly putting money out for supplies, for equipment, and you really should make sure that you keep good track of all that. And that's time and money. And when, money is in your time. I mean, if you're sitting there every day and writing out work orders and how much this work order should pay you, how much it should cost you to get it done. Make sure you print out these work orders and put them aside and attach all your receipts to them. And that way, at the end of the year, you can pay your taxes easily, have no problem. But in this kind of business, it is hard, especially when you're raising a family. And employees, handling employees, it's just not easy. I might get distracted every once in a while. I'm at home with my son, who has autism. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to get into this business. My husband had been in this business for years before this, working for another company that closed down. They went in debt because they just kept using credit and hiring lots of people to do their pictures, to put their pictures in and their orders in. And the people that work for us are pretty fortunate, because we do a lot of work for them that we didn't have to do that we had to do when he was working for the other company. He would get a whole list of orders, and like we do now, and he'd have to route them out for himself and figure out where he's going, and what's more time efficient for the company, so he's not looking like he's taking way too long. But my husband will route every single person's orders and put them out there and say, okay, this is where you're going and this is where you're going, and you go to this house next and this house next, and he should not, he knows how long it should take for people to be at houses, and how long it should take for the jobs that they're doing, and it is, sometimes people just take way too long. Like, you'd be like, oh, this is a nice profit, a $200 profit job, and then sometimes you wind up actually having to pay out almost $100 because the people took so long, they ate up your profit, and they're still out there working to get your job done. So, and that, it took way too long, but what can you do? And, it's not easy to hire people. It's not easy to find good help. It's not easy to find people who just don't have time for business, for your business. They just want a job to get a paycheck, but they don't care what they do for you. You can see by that, some of that the work that's done out there. If you're in this business, most of that work really isn't done by the owners of these companies, because they do care about their companies, but it's the workers who don't care about the company they work for. They just want a paycheck. And you would think that people would be looking out for you and looking out, because if you lose a client, they lose their job, and it's just incredible. But in our people, we make sure that they do their jobs correctly. We make sure we will send them back and make them do the job for free. So that doesn't happen around here, because they don't want to be sent back. They don't want to do a job for nothing. My husband will not pay them. If you do not do your job right the first time, you do not get paid to go back and do it again. So, but as far as people taking their time to do a job, yeah, that happens. That happens to everyone, everywhere. Let's see what else. There's, like I said, the money that it takes to do a job, it takes forever to get paid for it. And like I said, some people only pay for half the job and then half of it later. Rehab jobs, when you go out there, the bank will give you like a quarter cut of the money. That's sometimes half, depending on how much your rehab job is. And you have to get it all done and have the money, whatever you go over. And you have to pay people to do the jobs, and they always say make sure that you find somebody that's not going to get paid until the job is finished, but that don't happen anymore. Nobody does that anymore. Everybody wants to get paid, most of them, the day they do the work, because no one trusts anybody anymore. There are a lot of companies out here, a lot of people out here. We've had a lot of people say, well, I've been, I'm going to start working for you, but I got to finish working for this guy first because he owes me a lot of money and I haven't gotten paid. And then nothing turns up with these people. They're just gone. Guess maybe they worked it out, or they found another job or whatever, or maybe just gave up in the industry. This was a real picture that one of our people got for us. It's funny. It's not the name of a real street, but it's somebody's driveway, and they named it that. It was cute. And like I said in my first video, there's things that we get to see out there on our travels, and we like to take pictures of, and we just love Philadelphia and New Jersey landscapes, and it's a shame Philadelphia is turning out the way that it is. It is very, the word blight, which means neighborhoods look terrible, and you could ride down the street and see trash everywhere, tons of trash, and playgrounds graffitied and ruined, and buildings all graffiti, and find out, later on in the day as you did a job that right down the block somebody was killed while you were at your job. You didn't know it until you got home. I've had many times I've left my bank and heard that it got robbed after after I had left. That's one of my biggest fears, is to walk into a bank and have it robbed while I'm there. I can barely stand in a bank. So, see what else we can talk about with your time. If you're running a good company, then you have no time to do anything for yourself. You have your family to take care of. You have your home to take care of. You have, even your car, all your bills to pay, plus work orders to put in, and your family that wants to see you, and all your friends, and that's hard too. I mean, I would say that a lot of my friends and me don't talk like we used to anymore. You have to call me sometimes and interrupt my life for me to talk to you, and sometimes I just can't answer you because I'm in the middle of deadlines. There's deadlines with this stuff, and you need to put your orders in on time. That's the only way that you're going to stay in business. They don't care if you don't, they don't care that your truck broke down, or that your grandmom died, or that your dog ate your homework. They want their jobs in on time. And if you have to walk there to get it done, that's what you should do. Take a bus, whatever. You really have to have their jobs done. Or you need to call them and have a darn good reason why, and hope that it's okay with them. Because they might say, yeah, go ahead, all right, be a day late. But then you'll never see another order again. So you don't want that to happen to you. So you just make sure you get your jobs done in a timely manner. Try and get them in before they're due, and do them right. And you'll get paid on time. You'll get paid for the orders. Some people say companies out here don't pay. That is true. We had a company that has paid us, but they're 60 days out, and when you're hiring other people to do your work, you can't. You got to pay them, money that you don't even have yet. And we started working for them in July, and we got our first check from them in September for things we did back in July. And it was only 3 orders, and then we got another 3 orders paid 6 weeks later. So it was the beginning of September. We got paid, and then 6 weeks later we got 3 more jobs paid. So it is hard to keep track of all that, to make sure that you're getting paid for every order. Because if you don't, you're putting money out that you don't have. And putting money out that you don't have will bring down your business. I mean, let's say, okay, if you got a job that's going to pay you like $5,000, and that's really about the most you can get in property preservation, and we got $9,000 one time to do a roof. If you don't have good roofers, good people, it's hard because these companies don't pay a lot to do a roof. If you hire a roofer, they're going to charge you $40 to $60 an hour, but they don't pay you that to do these roofs. You barely get the wages of $10 an hour to do these roofs by the time you're done. And you got to pay your people a little bit more money to go up on a roof. If you're paying people $12 to $15 an hour just to do your property preservation work, and you ask them to go on a roof and do a roof, they're just like, hey, I need a little more money, So, then you're going into your profit, and then they say, oh, I can get this done in like 2 days, and then it goes on to 4 days, and then they're into your profit. So, big jobs, it's more like, here's 150 for this job, 300 for this job, 1,000 for this job, and and so on, and then you get your $16.50 jobs, or $20 trip charges, and $27 grass cuts, or a $35 grass cut, and then when you're sending people at $15 an hour and paying for like $20 for gas, tolls, and their wear and tear on their car, by the time they get done a grass cut, you made maybe $3 off of it. You're like, seriously, maybe even less. So you had to make sure you got somebody out there that's getting like 10 to 20 grass cuts a day done. Maybe, which sometimes is impossible depending on where, you're going. So I said my husband is a master at routing people. He's just knows where they have to go. And what's going to be more good for him. I mean, we had people the other day writing down 72 hours apiece to do grass cuts. They work 6 days a week, and they barely got any grass cuts done in a day. That's like $1,600 we got to pay out for grass cuts that we probably only got paid maybe $1,200, $1,300 for. So we're putting out extra money. And then, and then we got bid approvals that are coming in and they're paying us like $6,000 where we should only spent like $1,000 to get them done. But they turned out that they took a little longer than they were supposed to. And, because people think, their work's going to run out. So they're going to slow down. And, their work will run out if they don't do their, if they don't do their jobs right in a timely manner, yeah. Because then we won't get any more orders. But when you get your jobs done, and so what, you go home in a 5-hour day one day instead of an 8-hour day, it's going to work out. Because there's going to be some days that you'll be at a job till 2:30 in the morning. I mean, it all works out. And that's another thing. People just amaze me as far as their work ethics. Like, everyone wants a job, but no one wants to work. Got to be home when your wife says so. That's amazing. I mean, I always thought about that when our grandparents were growing up. My grandfather would have to sit out on a dock and wait forever for a job, and would just wait there all day long and either go home with a job or not go home with a job. And they would, some guy would say, "Come with me, young man, we got work." I mean, that's what they sat there and waited for. But some days they never got it. And when they did, they would get enough to maybe go buy a loaf of bread, and they'd bring it home, and everybody would be so happy we got a loaf of bread. And it's incredible the way life has changed, and the way people are so greedy, and how, they just want everything and think that, life owes them everything. And, they don't got to do nothing for you. You need to do it for that. And it's a shame how bad the economy and the world has changed. So this is a picture of the Philadelphia skyline during breast cancer month. It's kind of hard to see, but everything is lit up for breast cancer, even the bridge. I never thought I'd have to deal with something like that in my life, but my mother just had a breast cancer operation a few weeks ago and getting ready to go into radiation, and I just pray that everything will be okay with her. So, I just pray everything will be okay with her. This picture is of right off the Sugar House Casino's roof, and I accidentally took it black and white, but I think it's good because you can see everything much better. That's a big wall cloud of rain coming, and it was very far away though, but it was an awesome sight to see. I like going up on the roof of the Sugar House Casino and taking pictures of all the landscapes there. It's pretty cool. You don't even have to gamble, just go up on the roof and enjoy the view. It's beautiful. Okay, what else is there to say? I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about, and I still have a lot of pictures that I put out on here, but that's okay. I'll find more stuff to talk about, and hope I'm not babbling. I see a lot of videos out there of people who are in this business, and like I said in my other video, and if you haven't seen that one, the reason you don't see videos of my houses is because you cannot do that. It is illegal. You will never see me post a picture of a house unless it's from a realtor that gives me permission to show an advertisement of my, our rehab abilities. I do have a couple houses I could do that with, but, I'll do that later. It's not a big deal. But as far as the preservation companies that you work for, you cannot post pictures of jobs or videos of jobs And it amazes me how many I see out here saying, here's a picture, here's a video of how to do debris removal. And it's like, thanks for showing us, but, like I said before, do it on your garage or something, because it is illegal to post any videos or photos of any property that you are working on for a company. They may never see it, but you never know. Never know. Somebody could just decide to start looking up your business since you work for them and see what's out there. They can look on your Facebook profiles. They can do everything. So make sure your Facebook, even your personal Facebook, is pretty clean. Don't make yourself look like an idiot or ignorant or just, I don't know, just don't go cursing out there and acting all bad and disgusting and nasty and ignorant and rude. Be professional all the time. Show people that you have a family life, that you have a great family line, and that you like to spend time with your family and go places and show you're a family man, you're a family woman, and you'll look better to people. I'm trying to get my son to clean up his Facebook. He's getting ready to go to college for networking. Of course, and that's where all this filth and nastiness comes from. It's out there on TV and the internet and everything like that. But, I wouldn't want anybody to see what he shares. If he shares anything like that on Facebook, that would ruin his chances of getting a job or getting into good college. But he the other day he said, I think I'm going to delete my Facebook. I don't want him to do that, because Facebook is good to have, but you need to show that you are professional and that you're a good person. And you see something funny or all the cursing or whatever, just laugh at it, like it, but don't reshare it on your Facebook. Let somebody else be the one that does stuff like that. So what else? Try and put up a website, make a business card, and you see our business card that was back there. I made that business card from a picture that I took on September 8th of 2001, a few days before the worst thing that happened in this country's history, September 11th, 2001. So it was a beautiful picture, and I never knew that that many years later, I'd be using it for my business card. It's pretty cool. I like the picture. And with all the different pictures I take, I might make new business cards, make different business cards. So I can have them all out there with all the pictures of the landscapes that I have. Okay, so this picture, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but a lot of people have caught it. It's caught a lot of people's attention with the thing that you see illuminated above the moon. I took this picture right out front of my home on the full moon in July, and I didn't even notice what I was taking a picture. I was just taking a picture of the full moon in July. It was beautiful with all the clouds around, and then all of a sudden, when I was uploading my pictures to Facebook to show people all the cool pictures I took, there happened to be a cloud that looks like a figure over top of the moon. And any time that I have this picture up somewhere, it always catches someone's attention. They're like, what is that? What is that? So I was just staring at it for a second, and I said, what does that, and I knew right away. You can tell right away. So I think it's divine. I think it's beautiful. I can't believe that I caught this. Someone called it Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I mean, it's obviously, it's an angel. If you can see the head, the wings, the way they're portrayed, the feet, the way it's portrayed. It looks like they're holding a trumpet or their horns. I think it's a trumpet that you always see them portrayed holding. That's what it looks like to me. It really does. And I sometimes can't stop staring at it because I think it's amazing. And one guy made fun of it. Some people make fun of it, and it's sad because, I mean, why would you want to make fun of something that could be real one day? You don't know. You have no idea what's out there. Some people believe, some people don't. Sometimes with having a son with autism, I'm told that I was given um, a chance to raise one of God's children. And I sometimes think that it was a curse for being not a good person when I was younger. When I was a teenager, I gave my mom a really hard time. It turned out though, it wasn't all my fault. But really, the way you react to things and what you do, it is your fault. No matter what you do, it really is your fault. But so I always walked around, saying, "This is my hell, my payback for what I've done to my mother." But I'm also told that God gave me a child like that because He knows I can take care of him. Sometimes I doubt that myself. I don't know why me. And then I wanted to go out there and build up a company and build up a business and make good money to be able to put money aside for him, and so when we're not around anymore, that he'll be taken care of. And I want to take him to Disney World, like, over and over again. He's gone once, and he remembers it. He was very young, but he still remembers, and he wants to go back real bad. He watches YouTube videos of Disney World all the time, always, everything, anything he can see that has to do with Disney, he loves it. So anyhow, here's that picture again, like I said, and I'm going to show you it in close-up. So this is close-up. I can see it much better on here, so I'm sure you can see it a lot better. See where the wings and the head and the horn and the legs, to me, it's perfect. It's a beautiful angel. And what's really funny is that people, the news had said that, moon watchers were going to get a special treat tonight. And of course, because it was a clear, beautiful full moon, but to me, that was my treat. Treat of the divine. If you're waiting to make money in this business, who knows, you could really do well, and then it could all just fall apart. You have to be just on top of things, and you can never get lazy, and you can never say, I can't do that. Don't, I know sometimes things are out of reach, like, we had a job that we were asked to do that was over 2 hours away, and do 4 houses that are 2 hours away, and with the way that the sun is setting now, and we had to turn it down because they couldn't wait till the next day to get it done. They needed it then, and we would have to pay somebody in a hotel room, and so it didn't work out. I think that's the first job we actually had to say no to, besides a house that was falling down. Demolition house that was falling down. It was crazy. So there was no way we were doing that house. And although it probably would have been fun, get on a couple bulldozers and knock it down. That would be really fun. There's one nightmare we did. Lost a lot of money on this house. Somebody else's bid we got to knock down oh my God, and it was terrible. It was supposed to be like a shed, but it was a building like a shed, like one of those old-time stone sheds. I would love to have had something like that on my property. That was like a long time ago with the sheds in these old houses, like back in the times when you see back in, Salem witch trials, and, it was really cool. It's like something that reminded you of, and they just gave it to us to knock down for $2,800, and we didn't have the equipment, and it was so far away. It's like we went and knocked that thing down with our bare hands. It took people so long. And it made me mad. We didn't have that many people, and there were some people that were there that were like, I can't do this, I'm dying, and then they would give up and go sit down in the truck, and and it's like, less people doing it. And that's the first job that we ever lost any money on. We probably lost like $800 on that job, between having to, dump the stuff and to pay the people that were there compared to how much we got paid. And it was a trying job. And most people probably would have quit after that, really. I mean, sometimes I sit there and say, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. I always said that in my life, too, like when I was struggling and we got into this business. And, we thought this is the better way. It's the better way. But, grass isn't always greener on the other side. My bills are getting paid, yes, but they don't always get paid on time like you would expect them to, because, you own a company and, you're processing over 100 work orders a week or more. You should be able to be in profit, but it don't always work out that way. And, we are in profit like we are waiting for money to come. But that money is going to have to go right back out again into paying people for jobs that we're not going to get paid for 5 to 6 weeks later. So, they just did the work and we got to pay them a couple of weeks later for, something that we're not going to get paid for 6 weeks from now. And the money that we're making now could have been from a week that was nothing but grass cuts and estimates and stuff where we don't have the higher profit margins to pay them for the jobs that we're not getting paid for, like I said, 5 to 6 weeks from now. You have to be very diligent. Make sure that you get paid for every single job that you do. So when you get big and you're like, well, I got to hire this person to do this and this person to do that, you better watch, because you're going to have a lot of payroll. And if you work on credit, you got to watch that too. The business I was telling you about, the company went out of business, $300,000 in debt. So $300,000 in debt's a lot, and I'm only like maybe $4,000 in debt. Actually, well, yeah, probably close to $4,000 in debt, and it's not from credit cards. It's from people who I took over a year to build up some trust in, to know that, when we need money for supplies and stuff, that we can get it from them, or they'll use their credit cards to help us out, and we pay them back, and with a little bit of interest. And it took over a year to get people like that, and we were always struggling and putting out money, like, oh wow, we got to pay $500 for this job, but our rent's due, so we're just not going to pay our rent so that we can pay for this job, but we'll get it back next week and we'll pay it. And that there are examples of things that you have to go through, having to wait to get paid. I mean, any kind of job. Like, if you even think you want to go out there and be a realtor, you know how long it takes to get paid for a house? And sometimes you get the crappiest houses that are falling apart. I mean, like really bad houses. And when you start out, that's what they give you. When you start out in a realtor office, they're not going to give you beautiful houses to sell. They're going to give you those rickety racks that you barely don't even want to go into. And that happens with us too. We go into houses, people fall through floors, steps. You never know what you're going to get. And you should always expect the unexpected, believe me. There's people who just crap over their entire house. I mean, before they move out, they will leave their crap everywhere. And I mean real crap. And I just want to know why. That's just disgusting. But they do it, and then we have to pay to clean it up. So, before the phone rang, I don't remember what I was talking about, but that was one of our workers, and we were talking about the mistakes that they made this week, which, weren't big ones, but they're just stupid little things that, they cost a little bit of money to go get them fixed. And we try to tell people, you aren't getting paid to go back and fix your mistake. But sometimes it's the company's mistakes, the people who put you out. Like, what was, you didn't cap a wire. Well, it wasn't a wire, it was a cable wire. And it got accidentally submitted in the picture as being hung down, but they were just showing us that the cable wire, that it was a cable wire, by letting it hang, and then they tucked it back up inside and maybe forgot to take a picture. But even if they did take a picture, the company saw that hanging down and automatically, that's wires hanging down. Go back and cap the lines. Then there was a picture of, we had to clean up some poison ivy on the side of the house and by the electrical box. And there's a whole thing there. It looks like a big patch of poison ivy still there. But it's not. It's rotted siding. And then there's little tiny pieces of ivy hanging from the bottom of the siding. Little tiny pieces. They want us to return and clean up all the siding. I mean, all the poison ivy off the electrical panels. And if we did that, we would rip the siding off the house. And, so that's part of your time. Now you have to let the company know this is what's going on. Do we have to return? So, it's all, every day. Like I said, expect the unexpected. You have no idea what you're going to do from day to day, from minute to minute. You could have plans on sitting down and writing an estimate and put the estimate in, and then the phone will ring, and you'll get an email, or somebody will come knock at the door, and then the next thing you know, that estimate's sitting up for 5 hours when you just told your guy you're going to have it in like 20 minutes, and I'm serious. Minutes become hours, and hours become days, days become weeks, weeks become months, and then next thing you know, you're in another year, and you still have no money. So this is a nice picture about where I live, around where I live. It was at a stop sign. I stopped at the stop sign, took the picture. The sun's going down. It was beautiful. Coming back from dropping off my boy to the homecoming dance. He's a senior this year. Like I said, going to college next year. It's going to be fun. Paying for college is going to be fun. So there's so many different branches that you could go to in this business. You can do so many things. There's just one thing. You can concentrate on just, trash outs. Which is going in and trashing out houses. And maybe there's not enough of them. I mean, there are quite a bit, but if you did that and only that, you may not have jobs every day. So you have to make sure you get paid good for the jobs you do. You might only get like 5 trash outs a month, and you get paid like $2,500, $3,000, and by the time you dump the trash or get the dumpsters, or perhaps you can have a business on the side taking some of the stuff that's not really gross and not trash, and have a flea market, going on the side, or take it to an auction and put it on as a lot, There's like, sometimes you get some really good furniture. Sometimes people have gotten cars. We've never had that yet, but they're cars and trailers and boats and things that, you may just be able to get. And somebody could just get your scrap title, or you can make some money just junking it, just remember, never steal anything that is not yours. Like, for instance, of course, you walk into a house for the first time and initial secure, and you have to change the locks and take pictures of all the stuff that's left in the house, their personal items and all the disgusting trash that they leave. And, sometimes you can open up the refrigerator and I just, want to die. I mean, you're like, I don't get paid enough money for this. It is so gross. But then you'll see something really nice, like a piece of jewelry or an Xbox, or like a whole pile of Xbox games, and you're like, wow, I could make some money off of that, or I could use that at home for myself. It's like, don't take that stuff, because it's not yours. And the only time that you're allowed to take anything is when you are told complete removal of all debris in and outside the house. That is fair game. Anything. You can take it home, give it away, sell it, throw it away, whatever you want to do with it. But when something is personal, do not take it. Because there are many instances that the owners have walked back in the house and said, what are you doing in my house? even though they don't realize the bank took it over and we're about to lock it up, you know, all your stuff might still be here, but you don't live here anymore. They can still take that stuff out anytime they want. Sometimes they have to make appointments with the banks, someone to come meet them. So, I mean, how if you were somebody that stole something and came back to a house to let the owners in, only to find that their Xbox is gone and their flat screen's gone, and, what are you going to say? Like, I don't know what happened to it. And that could be a possibility, too. Stuff can be stolen from the time that you left there, and, but usually not the case. If there's things missing, it's usually the contractors that, were there before you, or... So, just make sure that you don't take anything. Don't touch it. Okay, what else can I say? Bids. Bids, you're always bidding on something. Bidding on, a mold job, or ripping up a carpet, or something. You just always have a bid for something. And you're competing against other vendors, in your counties or your states. And whoever gets the best bid, the lowest bid, usually gets the job. And sometimes that job winds up coming back to you anyway, with the lower person's bid, because they don't want that person doing it. They want you to do it, but they don't want to pay you what you wanted. So sometimes you just got to take it, say thank you. So I stopped in the middle of the road to take this picture. It's only a little bit away from my house. It's beautiful farmland, plains, and it is beautiful. So you can see in the picture, if you look, you can see Venus and Mars, two different planets out as the sun was going down. Very rare sight to see. It looks like you can see one of the planets right there by the clouds, and then the other one's right above the land, all the way over on the left. And I did stop in the middle of the road and took this picture with my camera phone. I have an LG G5 camera. It's one of the best cameras out there, better than iPhones. So, and another thing is, a lot of the companies now are requiring that you do timestamps with, your date and your time. The time by the minute. Like, say 10/30/2016 at 1:05 p.m., 1:07 p.m., 1:10 p.m., whatever time that you take those pictures, it has to be on there. And if you don't have a camera that does that, they have programs out there that you have to pay for, unfortunately, that will do the timestamps for you, and they are from the metadata on your times, from your camera. It knows, the day and the time that you were there, and it will accordingly stamp your pictures. Some places, want GPS signals, that you have to have a GPS on your phone. They require sign-ins. So you have to go on the website, sign into the work order, say you were there. A lot more has been introduced since we've been in business, since we started business. Now they're asking for E&O insurance, which costs a lot more money. They want, some people want workman's comp, cost a lot of money. And you really have to be careful. You don't know what businesses that are going to pay you or what businesses aren't going to pay you. And when you start out, you need to buy your insurance before you even get people to give you jobs, because they need the insurance to show that you're insured before they'll give you a job. So it could cost you a lot of money before you get started. And we got started, we had our income tax. We paid for our LLC, for our license, for our insurance, for our branding name, for everything, equipment. If you're going to cut lawns, you better go out and have all the equipment that you need. So, um, I don't know. There's plenty of other things. We were down to $300 after we bought everything we needed. Had to wait for a job to come. We had everything all bought, ready to go in February. All the companies were saying they were saturated already with work, that they didn't need work. And, so we were very upset. Like, wow, we're paying for all this. And then we finally got our first order that came in. It was so exciting. It was March 30th, 2015. Got our first job to do. And it was a secure job where we would go out and get to use some of the locks that we already had from the other companies still left over, and makes the money. He goes and does the job. He comes home and they tell him that the property was occupied. So he went and changed the locks in the house that somebody already lived in. So it turned out later on that that was not the case. But we were like, oh my God, our first order, and we messed it up. That's rare. It's pretty bad. But you know what? We've been going strong with that company ever since. We're one of their best vendors. We're top rated vendors. We have 5.00 ratings, which is the highest you can go. Sometimes, we get Reorders. They don't, we do a job for them, and they think we took a little bit too long or whatever, like maybe a week over. We might go a week over their, what they wanted. It's like, because we just want to make sure that, we get the job done, quality, right. One time, it took forever for the bank to send us our draw. It's like, they want us to go purchase everything and all the items for the house without money, and at that time we couldn't do it. So, you will go through realtors. You'll keep realtors. There'll be some picky realtors. There'll be realtors that you're saying, wow, I'm done with you. Never any more work for you. You're too picky. We really haven't done that yet. We did lose one realtor because I'll tell you what, you got to be careful of the kind of work people you have out there. We had one guy come to our house and totally get the wrong tile, and and make sure you always show up and watch what they're doing. We came in one time and they had a cooler with beer and Jägermeister in it. Like, what the, they were drinking, on their breaks. But it's like, you don't do that, so. We got rid of them, and they put the wrong tile in, the wrong color tile in. We make them all rip them up, and ripped it all back up and all. And then we found out, they were drinking at break time, So we got another person to come in and put the new tile back down, the right color tile. But when you give somebody a picture, give them the number, tell them the color, it's supposed to be beige, and they get the gray version and they blame it on Home Depot. They blame, they gave me the wrong tile. I told them what number I wanted. It was the wrong tile. It's like, and then like the realtor said, when you hire somebody, you tell them, this is how much I'm giving you for the job that you do, and then you pay them when the job is done. That's very hard for things like that to happen these days. I mean, like, we gotta wait like six weeks to get paid for a job. We had hired a company to do a trash out for us because we were so busy, and this company wanted us to do a trash out for them, and it was so big. We hired a company out there to do the trash out. They wanted to be paid the same day. So we had to come out and give them it was $3,000, they said. So, before we even got it paid from the other company. So, then you got electrical contractors that you have to go meet. They want you to pay for the contractor certificates up front. They could cost like $200, $500, $1,000. You don't know. You get termite inspections, all kinds of things that you have to pay for out front. Up front. Grass cuts aren't much to pay up front because, you already have the lawnmowers and you got the people and you go do the job. But, then sometimes you got to board windows. You got to go buy the nails and the boards, and, there's putting up sheetrock and taking down sheetrock and pull it up, pulling up rugs. I do that all day long. That doesn't cost you anything. You know, they pay you $500 to rip up a rug. I do that all day long. It's a fun business, and it's also a busy business, a scary business. You worry a lot. There's going to be a lot, like including chasing somebody down the street in your underwear, like my husband has done many a times in the beginning of our business when people were taking advantage of us, coming and knocking on our doors. One girl threatened to come back with a gun. It was because we didn't want her husband to do a job, because he left a job in the middle of the day and said, I'm done, I got to beat the traffic home. I left the job unfinished and didn't even tell us. So, and they came back, they demanded their pay that week, at the end of the week, when that wasn't, the week for you to get paid. She came back and, they threatened us. So he was chasing them down the road in their underwear. 2 separate occasions. In his underwear, chasing people down the road. They're driving backwards down the street to get away from him. I mean, you have to really stick up for yourself, stick up for your company, stick up for your livelihood. There's more stories I can tell you, but I'm out of time today. And thanks for coming back and listening again. Hope I gave you some good information and not too much babbling. And I hope you were looking for me. Hope you missed me. I know it took a long time to come back, but I'll be back sooner, I hope. But maybe not, because I'll be too busy. Busy.